You are now listening to the Low Hanging Fruits podcast. Listener discretion is advised.
Chop, chop, chop.
All right.
All right, hell yeah. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. This is our new media project, the Low Hanging Fruits podcast. My name is Lauren.
My name is Constance, at least on Twitter.
And I'm Luna.
We are 50% of the pod.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 3 other co-hosts who will be chiming in for different episodes. Thought it'd be good to have a nice diverse cast. Basically, what I was thinking of for this project, just thinking out loud here, was that it would be really fucking cool to have like a actually funny, engaging, like left-leaning podcast that isn't Trapo Trap House, just literally anything else. Because if you listen to Red Scare, you'll know that it's not very good or funny.
Yeah,
At least the Come Town guys are funny.
Yeah, they are actually. I listened to a couple. Like I have the Come Town stuff. Like I only heard about the memes. Then listened to a couple episodes, and it's like, oh, I see what it is. It's not my type of stuff, but it's way funnier than.
Well, they're professional comedians, so it's like, oh, if it's at least kind of funny, like there's format of jokes and stuff. The experience of listening to Red Scare is just like taking too many Xanax, basically.
So white girl type stuff.
I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're white-ish. They look white. They look pretty fucking white.
Yeah.
They might not be. I might be slandering some WOCs here, but.
Oh no, it doesn't. Like whiteness is a mindset.
So true, Constance. So true.
Yeah.
Many such cases.
This would be a great segue to go right into like the hottest controversy that's been wreaking havoc on Twitter. Something having to do with white women, like white girls, and like asses, and
well, let's just say when I see a pog, I myself am also pogging.
I'm part
y'all
of.
Y'all are gonna have to fill me in on this. I apparently don't orbit the same circles of Twitter as y'all.
Well, literally every person who would be the type of person to discourse about something like that already has me blocked. So I found out about it like later through other people. I don't even know. Constance, please fill in the viewers.
The first time, okay. The first time I heard
too many
about
Ks.
yeah,
too many.
I know.
Too many Ks.
Sometimes like I type like 2 Ks to be like okay, and then I my finger slips and it's I always like I have to do an asterisk and be like, no, it's just 2 Ks. I'm not that type of person. But yeah, the POG stuff. The first time I saw it was like somebody getting mad that someone had the POG in their username, and then it just started stuff like below a tweet because like it was like a tweet by that person with the username, and then like it was people were like underneath the tweet started some shit. And I think it's been going on even before then, where it's just like asking for an apology while you're using like such a racist term, and like looking at that, just straight up, like you don't know what the fuck's going on. It's like whoa, and then
whoa, indeed.
And then like the really funny thing was I think someone said to one of the people starting the reply chain to just like get a life or just get some pussy, and then one of the people just quote tweeted that and just like scrolled through all the likes of the person dissing him or her or something. It's like white, just like it's just started like a whole thing, and then
that's my favorite fucking thing. It's like every time somebody says or does something stupid, a few weeks later, everybody reflects on it and go, oh, isn't that discourse crazy? And then somebody will be like, yeah, I feel like that was a white people thing. It's like, it absolutely was not. do we have the same? We don't have the same cultural memory. Every time something bad happens, it's just like, yeah, that must have been a white person, and it's like, as if there aren't enough like fucking shitty like black or Asian people on left Twitter.
And like,
Yeah, like
More
the
racist to assume that black people can't be idiots.
yeah, the ability to be an idiot transcends all borders.
I mean,
Yeah,
apparently now
exactly.
it's like devolved into someone who has like their username, like their handle on Twitter is like no cops, no ice, just like going like after people, and just like one of them locked up. And apparently they also there's a really funny post where somebody like juxtaposed that person's just like been hounding people for like saying pog or just like memeing about it, and basically they kind of like not brag, but like, you know, they were basically like talking about hiring maids or whatever. And that was juxtaposed to a post where it's like oh god, I don't remember, but just I would need to find it, but it was really funny. You know, the typical thing where you just like you're terminally on Twitter and like you go about like how everything's like authoritarian, and then like going like these almost like metaphysical like discourses, and then when you look at what like how they actually live, it's so like it's so disconnected that you're like, wait, why are you like why are you why are you engaging in like all these discussions when like you're he's so I don't know what's the exact word for that.
I think if we ever have our lovely socialist revolution in America, we're gonna have to get some of these Twitter users on the front lines because it'll be an
God.
immortal army. They have no
Oh,
life. They cannot die.
that's right. But the thing is, would you actually want to give them weapons? I feel like it would just turn to.
Yeah, it,
it,
it really seems like they do more damage to our side than theirs.
oh, it would instantly just like they would instantly turn to weapons on each other, and then like just like uh for the dumbest
Well,
shit
I mean,
too.
if cancellations like are any indication, if you don't want the roaming hordes of like hyper performatively woke Twitter accounts to kill you in the coming era, all you have to do is just chill for a minute. They'll forget about you after a few months.
Oh, yeah. Well, but one of the fascinating things about like these cycles of just inane shit that no one will like remember in a while is that it always starts something like like I, it's so hard to know like why these things catch on, but when they do, people act as if they were like they knew about it all this time, or they say, well, we have to listen to the black people, we have to listen to the Asian people, and they've just like forego any like ability to just think about these things, and it just defers other people without like
I remember going on
but
a
like
rant like that where I was like, I'm sick of people saying like, listen to trans people. It's like 90% of trans people online are fucking idiots. These people are just the I don't know, dude. I remember Vosh getting canceled because he went on a rant and like Doe
yeah, I
was on
remember.
stream with him and she was like he was like, these people are my enemy. She's like, no, they're not. And obviously that's a fucking overreaction,
Oh,
you know?
I
But
remember
like
them being there, but like I'm not sure if that was that moment, but I'm fairly sure. Well, Vosh, well, I think it's known. It's been known for a while publicly. Like, he never hit it, but he was bipolar, and he was like off his meds because he was moving, and he sort of, I guess, he needed the energy. I don't know what was going on there. So a part of like him blowing up and like people just like being dipshits on Twitter for like if I remember, there's like the thoughts. Oh yeah, I remember. Right. I think that was like around the same time that he went like Todd Slime's mention to say like gender abolition is good, and then Todd Slime got really upset.
I don't remember so much of the gender abolition thing. I didn't follow that, but I do remember his conversation with Doe and it like getting like clipped onto Twitter
Hmm.
so that people could talk about like how he, I don't know, he hates non-binary people or something,
Yeah.
which pretty clearly was not what he was saying. He was like And that's the fucking thing about Vosh is like, if you want to talk about how he's wrong about something, it's not hard to find something. But for
Yeah.
some fucking reason, these people have no like ability to think critically, so they can only criticize him about stuff that they understand, which is like it's I don't know,
At
it's
max,
it's
it's a
ND phobic, so not like Twitter users.
I mean, at max, it's like a 2-minute clip. That's where they get like the Vosh stuff. Which, I mean, I can't fault them for like not wanting to like listen to Vosh videos, like the way that like the pro Vosh people might want them to. But
Well,
the
it is
same,
kind of funny because every YouTube personality has that fucking thing going for them where it's like the way that Jordan Peterson fans are always like, look, you're taking
yes.
him out of context. And it's like, yeah, that happens a lot. Um, not with Jordan Peterson, because it's like impossible to take him out of context because he literally just says insane shit all the time, apropos
Hmm.
of nothing. So it's like, how do you even what
Well,
is the
what's
context
wild
for that?
what's wild about that though is like somehow they still do. Like the things he says are crazy enough and then they still just make up things.
I
Yeah.
can, I have never heard somebody make up something that Jordan Peterson said, but I will take your word for it. Because every time Jordan Peterson says something where it's like, I think that our culture is in a bad place because if I have beef with a man, I can beat him up, but I can't beat up women, and that's a problem. That's a thing he said. So it's like pretty clearly there's some subtext to that where it's like Jordan Peterson has some fantasy where it's okay for him to beat up women and children, which you can read in his book because he talks about admitting to fantasizing about beating up a toddler.
Oh my.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
true.
weird fucking thing. That's like I don't like again, that's kind of what I was saying. Like which context should I take that in that would make that a normal thing to think?
Hmm.
Like Vosh is not Jordan Peterson, so maybe I shouldn't make the comparison, but it is one of those things. Like I don't what the what the fuck am I supposed to think? First of all, you're making yourself look like a fucking idiot, and now people aren't going to trust you
And
because they're
also,
going to lie about him and they're going to be like, "Oh, he must be great."
like, like one of the biggest like things that Vosh will never stop hearing about was because he was copying a Destiny take about like uh hmm, how to say this like this quote unquote ethical CP stuff that Vosh just copied the argument from Destiny until he kind of you know stopped saying it because uh well here's the thing. It's I feel that when he started out, Vosh was basically kind of a Destiny with some leftism, at least like consciously. But a lot of how he was working was still the like Destiny like, but he didn't understand that Destiny was using a lot of like these utilitarian or like super egoist or like weird like thought experiments as like to generate content, and he didn't care how people perceived them because he had such a force of personality that he could just make anybody look like a dipshit for just getting mad at him.
Well, yeah,
But
I mean that's the one thing that Destiny has is he's like what's the fucking character from the Hugh Jackman movie Greatest Showman? P.T. Barnum. He's like the P.T. Barnum of streamers. It's just pure like force of personality. There doesn't have to be anything of value. It's just he's just performing.
yeah, it's hard to know where the performance begins and ends. The thing is, I feel like Destiny actually doesn't have to exaggerate at all or very much to be like who he is on camera.
Well, no, I mean he is kind of shitty. Like I don't know, there's something about his bullshit where it's like remember the fucking like his thing where he was like, I want there to be like militia guys to gun down like rioters if they're like breaking shit, and I was like,
Oh my god,
what the
yeah.
fuck could you possibly ever conceivably be smoking? Where you would think to yourself, yeah, no, it's
He's
break a window, that's murder time.
is smoking property rights, and
Yeah.
I mean, we can speculate a little bit, but I'll just mention he has a landlord friend, and with the kind of money he makes, I'm pretty sure he might have real estate investments. Not for sure. I don't know exactly. I don't have papers, but
Back that shit up. DJ, run that back. His landlord friend?
Oh yeah, the one Harkton, right? Who also like years ago went on like a weird like rant on well, I have the logs where he just went on like weird race science thing. Well, the thing is he's like well, he's Jewish and but then went on a really weird like rant about I don't even know how to explain it, but to like justify like how Jews survived the Holocaust or something, and it's like why we're actually more intelligent, and it's like what? It's just like
Sounds like a good thing to be saying in this day and age. Sounds like the
yeah.
kind of thing that you really want to be promoting.
Oh, it was like a couple years ago. And what's really funny in one of those logs is that like in between like saying that he's like, oh my fucking god, this like Irish laddie, he's this what a fucking SJW. An Irish laddie is actually Vosh back
Yeah,
then, a
yeah, I
couple
remember
years
that. That
ago.
was
Yeah.
his old username, right?
Yeah, in Destiny's community. It's funny. But yeah, it's
Oh
just
man, debate streamers and their consequences have been a disaster for the left.
oh, for the human race, not just the left. But yeah, the debate streamers are I don't know. I there's there's like so much there to just go on. What really is kind of well, how do I put this? The thing is, even if you assume every single one of them is doing it in good faith, and this is like the reason they're doing it is because they genuinely believe that it's a way of like arriving at like truths or just you know kind of just like the discourse or just a debate or like the performance or just who gets to watch, like what may sway people, even if you believe that like they're all doing it honestly, there's not even like a hint of maliciousness or of like well of just sophistry going on. Even if you assume all of that, what's the point? And I'm asking this like genuinely because like the politics of these people is always just like it is always like super fucking cucked at the end of the day.
You know, that's absolutely true. I think about that a lot as well because
well, the thing is,
when you get
it
right
is
down to it,
it
a lot
basically
of it's exactly the same logic as that optics brain bullshit, where it's like, no, 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 we're getting more people on the left. And it's like, well, if you're what the left is, why should I be convinced that that's a noble project worth pursuing? It's just like, oh, we're getting more workers' rights. Well, why are you getting more workers' rights? Well, we're getting more workers' rights to make the left stronger. And it's okay, like, okay, why are you going to make the left stronger? And it's like, to get more workers' rights? Why do you want more workers' rights? Well, to make the left stronger. And it's like, there has to be some escape. There has to be some like escape velocity, some point at which you're strong enough and you just what does socialism just happen?
well there's that, but what they mean by we're bringing more people to the left again, they don't need to do it maliciously, but what they mean is that they want a consumer demographic. Like really, like they want a pool to just well, the thing is that they don't want people to just grow beyond them. You need to rely on them. So that's how you get your information. That's how you get like, you know, kind of what's important right now. That's why you stay plugged into the discourse. You never like progress beyond, basically maybe a more advanced like conceptions of like market socialism and electoralism. And even then, like I don't know how you call that advanced.
Well, one does wonder. I mean, you have to figure some of these people do genuinely want what they say they want, but if you're kind of market brained, if like that's your poison,
Because
then
there's so many of them
and
who just like pop up, and it's clear that the success of Vosh started out as like basically just maybe a guy that Destiny pulled up on his stream to have like lefty like sort of discussions or debates or something, and Hassan too. So if you met, I was there when it all started out, like when Hassan started out, and then Irish Laddie when it was Vosh or like all that like started out as again like kind not a complete offshoot of Destiny. I think Hassan had his own thing, but the format was kind of the same where you just have like this guy who just talks and just like looks at stuff and like talks to the chat and sort of like sometimes you can play games, so a lot of times you're just like going over what's going on, and it's like you kind of have like a smart, witty friend, or just the parasocial thing.
It's, I don't know. I don't really even at this point know what to say about that, except that it seems like really roundabout. It just seems like it's a big cycle of, I mean, even if it's not, God, that's the beautiful thing about capitalism, isn't it? Even if it's not intentionally a consumer demographic, it doesn't matter. It's effectively a consumer demographic.
It creates its own demand, basically.
You gotta love them supply and demand economics.
Oh God. Well, and
Supply the dick, the girls demand it.
but the
I'm
thing is,
fulfilling a market need.
what? I didn't hear
I
that.
said I said I'm fulfilling a market need. Fuck me, it didn't land. Let's just go with it.
But yeah, well, I guess I can't really be that mad at them because in some ways, right, it kind of reflects like the very best you can expect out of the U.S. left, kind of in like populist terms, right? Because when you look at the situation, at least in the U.S., where a lot of this debate bro, debate streamer stuff happens, it's really kind of fucking dire, like really. So I feel it's in a way it might be. I can't say it's better than just being like doomer pilled, because like being a doomer, even if you're not gonna do anything, at least like sort of have like a more like uh realistic approach. Or at the very least, you can see the bad that's coming ahead. You're not just like, oh, how would you call it? Yeah, like a Whig history with like, oh look, we voted Joe Biden in, we can just return to like the slow march of progress and just like yada yada.
See, for me, I really disdain doomers. I don't know what it is about them. I just think it's this really defeatist mindset where it's like, oh man, I'm so depressed about like the state of the left and stuff. And it's like, well,
Which,
you're getting too
by the way,
invested almost. What? Say again?
yeah, I mean that's, to be honest, that's been, it's kind of like Plato complaining about kids in his days. It's always been like that. So the left has always been like, oh my God, the left is so done for. Oh, we're just a bunch of weaklings. We have no fucking idea. Like, fairly sure you can find that throughout every decade where people are just sort of like watching what's going on. They're like, I mean, seriously. Like we think about like at the heyday of social democracy as in, before the quote unquote big betrayal when they voted for war credits, and like, it's even by the beginning of 1910s, uh, what was his name? Max Weber could already tell like, oh, these people are just like, they're not fucking frightening. They're just gonna help us. They're just gonna steer capitalism into like further concentration because they have this whole theory where they just want stuff to concentrate and just become monopolized. So when it gets taken over by socialists, that'll be
Well,
those.
I mean, that's the thing about like Soakdems. I say that's the thing. It's like one of the many things about Soakdems that I find fucking exhausting is that they hate neoliberals. And the one thing about neoliberals that the more intelligent Soakdems seem to grab onto is this idea that if you're a neoliberal, you don't really think society can be that much better than it is. Everything from here on out is just like we're kind of like perfecting the algorithm of capitalism. And Soakdems seem to get upset about that because they're like, no, we should limit capitalism. But social democracy as an ideology is functionally about steering the ship. So it's not that different.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's a good phrase I heard like a couple days ago, that basically, s- s- like idealization of like, Stalin, or like Stalinism, or like Deng. Well, no, wait. The way you pronounce his name is Dong, actually. So Stalinism or Dongism.
Um,
Huh?
he's he's Chinese, right?
Yeah,
It's dung. My friend corrected
Dong.
me because I would say dang because that's like
No,
the
it's
Yeah,
Anglo.
Dong.
it's actually a really weird sound that doesn't exist in English. I took Chinese
Yeah,
in high school. It's more like dung. It's more like dung. You kind of
Dong.
pronounce the e with like your tongue pressed to the roof of
Dong.
your mouth.
Yeah, but at least
Dung.
I'm pronouncing
Dung.
better than just, yeah. So yeah, as I was about to say. So yeah, basically it's like this. Fuck, I'm looking for a good word. This idealization, oh my god, I can't pronounce it. Wait, this idealization, oh my god. Wait, so, yeah, okay. So the people who just, like, seem to just have wet dreams about, like, Stalinism or whatever the fuck is going on in China with Dongism and, the form it's taken on now, it's kind of like the edgy version of, like, New Deal romanticism that Sokdems here have, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to that, isn't it?
Yeah. And also it's the weird thing where the New Deal was not like this socialist thing. It was by design to just hamper it, to hamper like
Yeah, it was
any of those
designed to
movements.
kneecap the labor movement, 100%. So all of this healthcare please bullshit is like, hey, would you mind shooting me in the foot and I will thank you for it?
And well, that's the thing with like one of the other things with like SOCDEMs is because their whole like their theory of change is so like it's it's not only is it like it's impatient and yet like what's would be the good word? Like it's all over the place. Like they want to be like they try to be like optimistic, but then they're impatient, and then they just I don't know what their deal is. I really don't know how they expect to do anything without like kind of at the very least maybe like not in public but like maybe like with like behind closed doors being like yeah we might have to overthrow stuff because if you think about it, let's say if you have like a super woke MMT SOCDEM who has this whole fucking plan how he's just gonna make everything good again, and he's gonna restructure the U.S. or and basically by doing that, it's gonna affect the whole world economy. Like,
Hmm.
how the fuck are you going to one like either take over the Democratic Party because that's basically what's going to need to happen unless you somehow like figure out a way to create a third party, but that's never going to fucking work. So basically you have to be an entryist, and so already right there like the political road party road is kind of fucked. But even if okay, so I can snap my fingers. Okay, so you have the whole Democratic Party just turned to your side. Then what happens when you get in power? First, so you have the Senate, so you're gonna be kind of fucked there already. But even then, that's assuming you're still like in this idealized democratic state. But guess what? Doing such like big moves in the economy, such something that would be required by MMT, like you're you're not gonna last long. You're gonna get like
You can, as a communist, appeal to a SOCDEM on the basis of practicality, because they're just going to turn and look at you and be like, "Well, you're also impractical." And I reject entirely the practicality as a concept. Political practicality is,
it's
you
the
know, for me, it's like if with enough force, anything is practical.
that too, but it's sort of like on their very own terms. It implies like revolutionary like potential like or just like organization to do reformism. So what the fuck are you like? What are you on about? Like, why? What are you doing? It's so weird. I don't get it. Or the other road is like basically you're like, okay, we're basically just gonna create like a cadre of technocrats, and we're just gonna maybe just red pill Democrats and Republicans to just bind to MMT, but then we're not gonna think about the maybe very bad uses of MMT that like a right wing nationalist could do, or something like that.
Well, that's the thing about like all political ideologies that imply maintaining the United States government at all, right?
Yeah.
At some point you yield power, either through your own missteps or because your opposition becomes power. At some point you lose a fight.
Hmm.
And then at that point, everything that you've accomplished is in question.
It's
It's all threatened. And that's like the whole Roe v. Wade thing. We had this idea for a while in my country that, in case we have any, I don't know, non US listeners, but We had this idea that like, we had accomplished women's rights as far as abortions go. And, at a practical level, we still had a lot of like room for improvement. There was a lot more to be done. But at a political level, we had achieved a legal equality of some sort. And then when Trump was president, we sort of had to concede that, oh no, that's all incredibly fragile and predicated on maintaining a system that's just, it's not eternally going to service our needs. At some point, we'll lose a fight, and then where are we? We're just fucking back at the beginning. There is no legal maintenance of like any kind of eternal equality. I mean, it's just a pipe dream. And that's why the climate crisis, I think, is one of the biggest indictments of soapdom. Because what are you going to do? Green New Deal? Okay, even assuming you have the ideal Green New Deal, you
I mean,
accomplish
they're
an unrealistic, what might be sounded practical. Let's say you accomplish that. Okay, now you steer that ship for hundreds of years because if you let it slip even a little bit, you're headed right back into the climate crisis.
and even then, like their
So
whole thing
good
was
luck
like
with that shit.
their whole like idea of like the Green New Deal, if I remember, it was like you have like they're just like talking about like producing a bunch of electric cars. It's like what? Like what do you mean? Like it's like there's no like it, basically their vision is like okay, we're gonna keep everything that we want, but basically stock dems just want everything to be greener, but like not change anything. So like when they see like a bunch of cars like jamming up like city roads and just like their instinct is to be like, oh, let's just like swap all this stuff out for like green cars. So like we're just gonna do like green manufacturing, I guess. And there's no like further vision of like anything. They're 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 just they're not even like good like sort of like technocrats or something. They don't want to change anything fundamentally. They just think that basically, oh, see, we see a bunch of cars and they're just emitting a bunch of CO2. So okay, we're gonna make them green without just kind of looking, wait, so we're just gonna swap out all the cars with like new cars are electric, and then like, oh, what's the what's the resource like cost of like making a bunch of electric batteries? And it's just
Well, and also the environmental cost in the long term of like dumping all those batteries into a landfill or whatever the fuck.
that too. Oh, and it was like, oh my god, I remember this fucking Matt Brewing guy. Oh my god. Like, so, my,
Matt, oh, Maddie B.
uh, it's so I honestly, it's if you hate him, it's a very good sign for you. It's so yeah. If I remember, like months ago, I think no, a year ago, there was like a thing where it's talking about like gas powered stoves, and Matt was just like going on about how he wants to like swap all of them out for like electric stoves. But the moment you actually think about it, the environmental cost of like swapping all the gas stoves for electric stoves is like it's way more than just keeping the gas stoves. Like way
And
more.
and
It
then when you're done, you still have to do something with the old gas stoves.
Yeah, so because it's just, which is like a perfect encapsulation of what like it really is about like swapping a few things around, and you're not thinking like at one level of abstraction and just kind of seeing how this stuff works out. So it's a they don't they have to change like insignificant things and just have like a cool little label on it when in the end it actually might even make things worse.
Yeah, I mean, there's the whole like, oh, let's go electric, let's go nuclear. Well, you're not. That's the reason why degrowth. Let's transition to that bullshit because
Yeah.
I. That's the reason why degrowth is just a necessity. You have to have less energy consumption. You have to make things at minimum, like in the long term, like more. What's the word? Like efficacious.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't. This cannot go on. This fucking bullshit just cannot go on.
I mean, yeah, I actually wonder when we're gonna hit like that cap where like the state mechanisms are maybe gonna start to actually register, even if it's like way too late to just have like an actual effort. Like when is that gonna happen? Where they're gonna realize, oh, we need to do something about this, or we're absolutely completely screwed. Because it's just I'm not sure. I
It wouldn't have been conceivable to me in the past, but I genuinely think now that the plan from the kind of oligarchs and politicians is just to run it into the ground. Just fuck it, you know? And at the end of the day, I think the plan might actually be to just go back to like slavery. Just fucking keep slaves in your little fucking like bunker and then just have like your own private renewable food source and everybody else gets to eat the dead bodies of all the people that you've let starve. And there you go.
Hmm.
If they've been willing to let things get this bad, there's no reason why that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's one possibility. I'm not sure.
Certainly can't rely on their sense of human decency or their
Oh,
belief
obviously
in
not.
that human rights bullshit.
No.
And basically, it's feeling like the idea is like, well, if we don't try this, we're going to all die anyway. So we may as well try because, you know, even if we fail, we're at the same place we would have been if we didn't try.
Yeah, that's my logic basically.
Yeah, it's well, I do wonder because with the world that's going to change, there might be ways for them to just gain certain sections of, the powerful just gain certain controls over. m- I don't know how to put this. Like there might be like opportunities to make profits off of this, of course, but just like in just trying to manage the kind of crisis that's going to happen. That is already happening, to be frank. But just when it really hits, like whoever is going to be the one to be like, okay, look, shit's going really bad, but if you give us the power, if you guys give us like the resources, we'll make it quote unquote okay. And by okay, we'll probably involve quite a lot of concentration camps and you know just keeping people in cages or around like open air cages.
Now, after
Basically,
that dark glimpse into the future, can't dwell on that too much because that's
yeah,
kind of a
yeah.
fuck me like a darker Handmaid's Tale, a Handmaid's Tale, but with some socio-political awareness. Um, Given that though, I want to transition to talking about something a little bit lighter that
Mm.
maybe I can fish for some commentary from our good co-host Luna on.
Yeah, I said this when you disconnected, but I'm not really talking much just because I'm kind of bad at theory, and that was super theory heavy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that was just speculation on our part.
Yes. We.
But yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm not really a theory person either. People who know me know that I've been reading like a little Marx just to kind of know what I'm talking about and hold my own in some of these discussions with people. Because it does annoy me to hear people just say blatantly wrong stuff just because they heard it in like a 40 minute like Richard Wolff talk or something. And just like, oh yeah, that's Marx loved democracy and he wanted equality and you should all have the fruits of your labor. And it's like, can we fact check that? Can I look for that? Can you show me where that is in Marx? Because I would be very interested. And that's kind of my thing right now is why I'm getting so into that bullshit. But I'd
Mm.
like to transition now to something that happened a little bit more recently, maybe a
Yes.
little bit more accessible to the listeners. Following our early discussion of PAWGs, still not sure why that's cancel worthy.
I don't
Jury's
know.
still out on that. But speaking of white women, um, fun little tweet here from Rose McGowan that I had to say
Oh.
because this was just a mind-bending experience. So Congresswoman Cori Bush posted about something like a 3-4 minute video of
Hmm.
her talking in Congress about kind of and this was just her testifying to her experience as a mother and you know doctors in the field not believing her when she relayed her symptoms to them and all that just insanity that all the racism in the medical field.
Oh, it's really
But
bad.
uh, so she uses the phrase "birthing people," and the funny thing about that is
Hmm.
she also uses the words mothers, pregnant women, other phrases that are specifically about women. But then she adds at the end, almost as an afterthought, she just kind of cuts herself off and she goes, "birthing people," just to kind of acknowledge there's other people who aren't women who give
Hmm.
birth. Rose McGowan's response. I'm going to read this out to you. Um, and maybe I'll edit in some Rose McGowan talking, because when you hear her voice,
Oh,
it's astounding. It's astounding what an idiot she is. Just to listen to her talk, just amazing.
I think maybe I would run as a Republican, just not because I do agree with Abraham Lincoln, the original Republican Party. It was less government in your life, less government taxes, less, it was I believe in the foundation of Republicanism, but not so much what it's become.
So this is Rose McGowan responding to this. Birthing people, I'm empathetic to your painful and unfairly traumatic experience at Cori Bush, but why are you smearing bio women to virtue signal to trans women? Why can't we rise together? Your language is creepy. You are gaslighting. What you are doing is dangerous. Hashtag Dem Cult. So right after I saw this, what I did was I checked Rose's media, and one of the most recent things in her media tab on her Twitter was her recording a video, and I'm gonna try to imitate her voice, because she says something to the effect of it is amazing. It is such a big step that Tucker Carlson could have someone like me on. This is huge. And it's like TERFs always talk like it's amazing that right-wingers love them. It's not fucking amazing. That's there was some fucking congresswoman once who was a conservative, who got caught saying that she believes in abortion rights because she's a woman. And it's that the Republicans will 100% make their bed with you if it's politically efficacious for them in the moment. In the long run, you're fucked, but that's not, you're clearly not using your brain. But it is very funny. So I just like to comb through this and give some of my thoughts on this, and you guys can kind of hit me up with what you're thinking.
I mean,
So first of all, let's just do the hits, the greatest hits of this tweet. Bio women, and also saying your language is creepy. Those two phrases in the same tweet.
It's amazing.
Are just insane.
It's
yeah, TERFs. I mean, I have this thought that some of them do realize how creepy they're being, but it's sort of the language of the culture. And so when you're writing TERF things for TERFs, as opposed to TERF things for normal people, you kind of have to use this language, even if you maybe feel like it's not, if it is a little dehumanizing towards cis women.
You have to. Well, I mean, I think it's something that I got from being in academia for the brief period of time that I was, is that there are genuinely a lot of feminists who believe that there's something special, or just I don't know, especially beautiful or noteworthy about being female. I mean, you hear that phrase and from some philosophers, the divine feminine. Shit like that is just brain cancer for politics. You cannot process that in any coherent political sense. It's just not. I don't even know, dude. There's something about it that's just I see a phrase like that, bio women, and my eyes just glaze over, because there's no such thing. 100% pseudoscience.
But
There's no such thing as a biological woman.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's it's so. It's weird because TERFs complain, nonstop. There's this they're being almost othered by the existence of trans women, I guess. But then they're their move is to be to just, I guess, what would be the right way to say this? In some way they're actually glad in a way, and they're so they kind of embrace it.
Well, I think that's part of the conservative persecution complex kind of thing. They want to be, they're doing the help I'm being oppressed kind of thing, and othering themselves and claiming it's trans women doing it.
Mm-hmm. Because their whole conception. Well, to be fair, I think it also it goes a bit deeper, and I think that their conception of just sexuality in general is literally just penis and vagina, and that's how how gender works, I guess. I mean, I just get this when you talk about bio women, what they're talking about is look, I have a pussy, that's why I'm a woman. I'm a bio woman. I mean,
I can't not think of that mouthy Buddha clip where he's like, my pussy.
oh my god! Oh my god! Oh god! That's been so long since I heard it. We're editing that in. Yeah. Oh my god! I'd forgotten about that one. Yeah.
My pussy! My pussy talks! My pussy! My pussy!
But really, what they mean by woman is I have a pussy, like quite literally. That's what like it's. I don't know what other like unless they're talking about like having a uterus, I guess. Well, then maybe they're just like the it's
I mean, it's the same thing to them because that's why they talk about
yeah.
like
But
genital reconstructive surgery as like having a wound. It's the same thing to them.
what was
It's
the
all one coherent thing in their brain. They've kind of like rigged their concept of womanhood so that like you have to in order to be a woman, you need to have the potential to have all of these things, which is why when you bring up like, well, what about women who have had hysterectomies? And it's like, well, they used to have a womb. They were like, that's why they use the term natal woman, because it's
wait
like you were born
what
normal, basically, is what they mean.
I've not been like that much like I don't like delve to the turf stuff. But wait, they use natal woman too?
Yeah, that's their because and it makes more sense than bio woman if you want to be a bigot about it.
Yeah, of course it does.
That's a better dog whistle.
I mean,
I should just post that mouthy Buddha clip to these people.
oh, definitely. Well, I'm gonna save
Better
that. So
response than trying to debunk
Yeah, I
it.
haven't seen that, so I don't know what you're talking about.
It's
Oh
in
my
the
God.
H-Bomb's
Yeah.
Bill Nye video. That's how I
Oh,
found
maybe
it.
I have.
It's really good. Which is funny because I think I don't know if he had done that before, but either before or even after that, he then went on like like steel manning like Nazism. Which is
Oh yeah, he did a JQ video
yeah,
where he like
literally.
pretended to be agnostic about it, but clearly fucking believed it. And then people pointed out in like within a day of it coming out, they were like, yeah, here's like every reason why that's bullshit. And then he got like scared and he backed off of it, and it's like you
It's not, and I can't even
people are
commit to.
cowards.
Oh, of course they're cowards. I mean, I guess that's maybe something that we can give TERFs credit for in some sense. Is just like they're well, no, they're cowardly, but in some ways they're just like they're so unabashed and just being fucking weirdos. That
There
it's
is, yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. I mean, TERFs are the most entry level TERF has the same like weirdo energy as the most committed Stormfront poster.
yeah, it's I mean, maybe, where does that energy come from? Because I feel that it always
It comes from pussy. We've discussed this. The
y-
divine female energy comes from inside the labia minora.
no. Oh no, and for
That's
like
where it's located.
and like for Stormfront posters, I guess it's the same thing. It's just like they want the mystique like trad energy, trad wife energy, and that's why they're really fucking mad about it, and they're gonna make sure you know that if it hadn't, oh my god, wait, no, I can't say that.
I had a thought earlier today where I was like, it would be funny to like
Hmm?
be like one of those like weirdo like hyper woke like DSA guys, and then you have your comrades over for I don't know for like lunch or to be like us and do your like your fag cast, and like you're talking to them, and your trad wife comes in because you're a DSA guy with a trad wife, and then you beat her in front of your friends, and they're like, oh my god, what are you doing? And it's like, no, this is what she wants. This is what she likes. And she's like, yeah, no, this is what I like. That's my fantasy.
Oh really?
Not really.
Look, I said this to a friend before. I need to confirm it, but it needs to be said. Women are way hornier than men, and very elaborate about it too. I
Yeah, no, that's
I
definitely true.
disagree. I disagree. That's your experience. That's your experience talking.
Really?
I disagree.
Really?
No,
I think as
nobody's
far as the
funnier than me.
elaborateness of it,
It's not possible.
What?
It's not
think as far as-
physically possible.
I didn't hear that.
I
I said nobody's hornier than me. It's not possible.
Yeah, but you're a
Oh.
woman.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! God damn it!
So
Also, I raise you
Horny,
myself.
horny is stored in the balls, so it's. I mean,
I also raise you myself, so
so is comedy. That's why women are funny. QED. The only funny women are trans women, and that's why this podcast is perfect. 6 trans women.
Hey, I disavow the 6 out of 6. Look, I've only started putting the conditioner in my hair today.
wait, what?
All right,
Oh,
we'll get you there. We'll get you there.
Is that not a thing most cis men do? Like when I thought I was a
Absolutely
man, I
not.
did that
The
like
closest that most cis men come to conditioning their hair is the 2-in-1 fucking shit.
every
yeah.
single member of my house used separate conditioner.
I was not shown this.
Well,
It's
you live in a what slurs can I say on this podcast? I'm trying to.
look to
You
be.
you live in a special family,
Hmm.
special kind of family.
Like to be fair, I wasn't shown this stuff. I wasn't shown skincare either. I picked this up all like this year.
You're
Yeah,
not
me
making
neither.
a
I
case
don't know
for
anything
yourself. You're
about
not making a
skincare.
good case for you not being a trans girl.
No,
True.
no. Look. I, I'm not arguing.
I'm looking.
I'm not arguing this. I
There are 2
refuse.
types of cis men. Okay, there's closeted trans girls and passing trans men. That's those. There's 2 types of guys. I will not be taking any questions on this.
Is that so? Hmm. Oh, that'd be a good bit. Me coming out as such a trans man.
There was some TikTok influencer who got called out because she was pretending to be a trans woman, but she was a cis woman. That's stolen valor. Okay, you don't know our struggle. Who was your commanding officer?
But that was the
What battalion did you serve in?
Oh, that's like the AFAB trans woman. This
That's
mystical.
me. That's me.
Wait,
I'm the AFAB trans woman.
nice. No, you just like you transition and then you detransition, so you're it's yeah. Like imagine like cis woman who just transitioned and to trans man and detransitions, and so is literally like an AFAB trans woman.
I was thinking the other day, I was like, I'm not really into like people who aren't women, but I was thinking about like kind of like a trans man or like a mask like AFAB like NB person, and I was like, I might bend that rule and be into like one guy just so I could bust inside a guy and see how it feels, just because I don't know.
Real come
Before
time
I came
hours.
out, before I came out, I had experiences with cis men, and I've had experiences with some NB people, but I mean,
Hmm.
never hooked up with a trans man. Who knows? Maybe I should challenge myself.
Yeah, I should shoot for the stars.
Yeah, exactly. Shoot,
And
shoot for the
shoot for.
the the male pussy and land among the stars.
Well, it's kind of like a starfish, It's.
Do, do starfishes have pussies?
No, I meant like the anus. No, okay, no, never mind.
Yeah, you're not making any sense to me right now. Listen,
Oh yeah,
I only
okay.
I only really process sex. Anything you have to make everything a euphemism of sex or analogous to sex for me to understand it.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody said Marx was like the bottom and Engels was like the top, and I was like, oh, I understand their dynamic now. Thank you. I'm a Marxist now.
I mean,
That makes sense.
Marx was kind of a bratty.
That's why Engels wrote on authority. That's 100% like that. Yeah, it all makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's also why there's a bunch of letters between him and Marx that they burned. It's definitely some fucking
Where
gay
where
gay
Engels
fucking.
was like, Engels was like, Carl, I gotta clap those cheeks. Let me bust in the bussy.
Like
And Marx
yeah,
was like, yes,
those
my
those
good friend.
boily ass cheeks that you can't even sit on like a lot of times because it hurts.
That's gross.
They,
That's so gross.
but yeah, look,
Oily ass cheeks. At first when you said that, I thought you meant like boily ass cheeks, but not boily ass cheeks. I thought you were
boiled.
using it like a what, like a superlative or whatever.
No, look, Marx didn't have a bubble butt. He had like a boily butt. The
He
poor
had a
guy.
Hank Hill in this.
That poor guy. Okay, this turned into a fucking come down bit. Let
That's
us
no, that's
go.
just me.
What we?
That's my personality. I am a come down bit.
Oh, wait, just like fucking. What is it? Seriously, what is it about cum that just makes people just go crazy? What is it about? Like,
It's a
it's just
magical substance. It's the divine whatever.
yeah, fuck women. It's just the cum should be
Yeah,
the divine
being
substance.
feminine.
Huh?
I want to know about the divine come. That's my
I think that's
that's
like
my
my
new
entire
thing.
gimmick.
Really?
Oh yeah, because you're into what is it called?
Which thing are you getting at here?
The fucking goddess angel worship thing. Are those different things? Are those the same thing?
They're kind of the same thing. I think the
Explain.
technical term is hierophilia.
Is it you want to fuck angels?
Yes.
Is that why you like me?
Yes.
That's interesting. So wait, you're talking about paraphilia angels. I've never heard that before.
It's not common. It's a thing.
It's a thing. I mean, everything's a thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Rule
it's really.
34.
Oh yeah, Rule 34. Yes. His sometimes it goes a bit too far. I actually no, no, wait, no. What I mean by that is, the really extreme stuff. It's not what usually ends up bothering people. Well, not bothering me. Sometimes it's just like the little things, and you're like, I feel like part of me died seeing this or hearing it's a thing. It's like who cares if like somebody's whole thing is just like buying a fucking like bad dragon like horse cock and just impaling themselves on it. Like who fucking cares? Just
I
make
was
it.
thinking, I was saying the other day, I was like, I would like to transition to like, instead of being a regular trans woman, I'd like to transition. My real gender is Futanari. I'm coming out,
Damn. I
and we're gonna
mean,
have a beach episode of the anime that I'm in,
whoa. Whoa,
and I'm
wait,
not
wait,
gonna talk about it.
wait. Futanari. Hmm. I might be taking notes on this.
Do you know? I guess suppose I should enlighten. So it's like an old like Japanese term for like a I forget if it was like a special kind of like spirit or like I don't know, like
Lauren got.
something of spiritual significance or whatever.
Hmm.
Not like a type of kami or anything Shinto like that specifically, but like kind of like a I don't know, like a almost like a if what's the cross between and a cryptid?
A what?
A human and a cryptid.
I don't know any of this stuff.
You
Cryptid.
God. A
So
cryptid like Bigfoot,
some of the cryptids are just
except if they're
crosses between
fruitless,
humans
then
and other
just,
things.
it's not Bigfoot, it's Big Dick. But I want to meet that cryptid.
Damn.
But yeah, it's like a
Well,
basically it's like
Lauren,
a woman with like she has a either it's just a woman with like exaggerated sexual proportions, or it's a woman with like both genitalia or some mix of those things.
Like the clit becomes the dick.
It,
Yeah, I've
it's
seen a
like
few.
it's a really sexed up intersex person basically
Yeah,
is and or trans person. There's a kind of a mixed bag.
yeah, it depends. Sometimes like the clit becomes a dick, and sometimes it just grows out of the urethra of like it seems to vary. I don't know why I know any of
That's
this.
that's me. That's yeah. Well, you know why you know it. Shut up. You know. We
It,
all know why Constance
huh?
knows what this is.
I
There's
mean,
no mystery
I
involved.
mean, yeah, because
yeah, there's
I'm a fucking Dojin and like expert. But the thing is, I barely like it's not even on accident. It's sort of like sometimes like oh, okay, I see this, but it's like 1% of the stuff I sometimes look at. A lot of times I'm just like seeking for the really good soft fandom stuff.
I love soft femdom. Can we
Yeah,
talk about femdom for a second?
yes, we can.
It's
Wait,
it's the
what
most
is?
magical material in the entire world. There's nothing as good as that.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
like gentle femdom.
honestly, if it weren't for like seeing that and like Dojins, cause first, usually the first like glimpse of like femdom people get if they like see porn is a really like hardcore latex and just sort of like humiliation and like all this stuff. And
And
sort
it's
of
like
That
a
turned
really
me off for
it's
a
like a
long
really
time.
specific image of a very hard femdom too. Like there's a lot of different ways to do even, both soft and hard femdom, and we see only really one depicted in porn.
and it's usually a type that's like that I mean I wouldn't say it's what men crave. Maybe they really like the really hard stuff, maybe, or like a certain
It's what a certain profitable demographic of men want.
yes, definitely. Oh yeah, definitely like more
But,
the people who would actually pay for porn for that kind of porn.
Yeah,
well,
for
I
like
would
studio
pay for
porn.
porn if I had money.
Hmm.
That's because I just appreciate the artist, man.
Oh yeah,
And I
Well,
would
yeah, but
commission it too,
that's
but
why you
that's the
pay for
thing.
like individual sex workers things,
yeah,
not like studio porn.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't. If you have a subscription to something, then it's like, go away. Don't. No, you're doing it wrong. You're
Yeah.
doing sex incorrectly, in my opinion,
But
which
yeah,
is the correct opinion.
that's so fucked up.
My objective appraisal, I should say.
Yeah, but like the femdom stuff, like the soft femdom stuff, a lot of it is it feels like very soothing because that kind of comfort or just how would you what would be the correct
I,
word?
I feel like you're describing subspace, that kind of turn your brain off, just go with the flow of the situation sort of feeling.
Yeah, there is that,
Yeah,
but sometimes it's just like it doesn't have to be like sex. It's sort of like you don't like it seems like rare nowadays to just have a
I
shoulder
keep
just
trying
like
to
rest
explain
on.
this to people where it's like, kink is not inherently sexual.
Yeah, people don't
yeah,
seem to get it.
definitely
Look,
not.
I used to date someone who was like basically like quite asexual but like very kinky.
Fuck, I don't know. Do we have any closing thoughts on this subject before we get Kelsey in?
We went kind of all over the place, but that's.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
But
we did. I
Um,
mean, I feel like that's just we stuck to like 2 or 3 main topics.
yeah,
just us
still
talking.
don't know why pogs are being canceled, but I think we can all conclude
Oh,
based on the readily available information. Even if it's racist to be a pog, it's not racist if she's your mommy dog, and that's facts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're,
The official position of the Low Hanging Fruits podcast. Um, give me mommy milkies.
that's
Well said.
yes.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. This concludes this episode. We'll be hitting you guys up again with another one. Say goodbye, friends.
Goodbye.
Bye.